If I could turn back time to my 20s, there are a lot of things that I would have done differently. Now at 36, here's some of the biggest things that I wish I learned sooner. What's up and welcome to the video. I'm Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, fitness enthusiast, creator of SIBO Shortcut and the gut health supplement bloat blocker. After a lot of consideration, this video is going to discuss, as a 36-year-old, some of the biggest things that I wish I knew in my 20s related to gut health, fitness, and overall happiness. These are in no particular order, but number one is that I do not need to be consuming alcohol at social occasions. To be fair, this wasn't really something that was really on my radar in my 20s. Not drinking when I'm on a night out with friends or going on a date wasn't even something that I was contemplating at this time. When I did start doing this, I noticed that at first it was very difficult and very awkward, but it eventually started helping out a lot. I noticed that two things changed. One, I'm sure you can relate to, is just that I never felt hungover. And then number two, maybe you have this, maybe you don't, but whenever I drank alcohol, I always just seemed to not be able to think the next day, like definitely brain fog. And then I noticed that my energy level, I never felt quite 100%, probably up to 3 days after drinking. So if you add this up and you're drinking every weekend, this is half the time into the next week where you just don't feel at 100%. Number two would be I'm allowed to set boundaries and actually keep them. A lot of this ties back into number one. Fortunately, most of my friends have been pretty good on not peer pressuring me really hard to drink alcohol. There were definitely some that did, and sometimes it worked and I ended up drinking, but the other boundaries I probably wish I would have kept were to try to maintain some sort of regular type of bedtime, but then on the weekends I may be up till 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. Third thing that I wish I knew in my 20s, the choices that I made, especially in regards to supplements, really matter. Two things that I want to highlight in this is number one, the form of the nutrients that are in the supplements. For example, when talking about a vitamin B12 supplement, a supplement with the form of B12 called cyanocobalamin is less absorbable than if you get one with methylcobalamin in it. If you want to learn more on this, I'm going to link a video down in the description below. And speaking of supplements with quality ingredients, if you're dealing with bloating, irregular bowel movements, or even leaky gut, check out my all-natural digestion supplement, bloat blocker. It's designed to work quickly and not only help with bloating, but also improve your actual gut health. Click the link down here to shop or go to blueorchardwellness.com. And now back to the video. Besides the forms of the nutrients, the inactive ingredients are probably an even bigger deal. For probably over a decade, I took protein supplements that had all these other additives, fillers that just wrecked my digestion. Considering the forms of the nutrients and then the inactive ingredients, there's a lot of times where I would feel you're way better off just not taking a supplement whatsoever than to take a crappy one. Fourth thing that I wish I knew in my 20s, this one's a follow-up to the third one, but place more of an emphasis on the actual ingredients that I'm eating than the calories or macros in a particular food. Like the supplements, the added ingredients in foods are often responsible for a lot of digestive symptoms and even full body symptoms. And this is not something that we're typically going to realize. So the biggest impact for me came when I just switched to eating single ingredient whole foods without any other added ingredients in the ingredient labels. Number five is that chronic bloating and gas every day. This is not normal. It's kind of frustrating for me now when I see certain influencers that do this where they'll just post a photo and show how bloated they are in the evening and try to make it out that this is like a normal thing for somebody to have. While occasional bloating is normal once in a while, having this every day and especially be bad bloating, this shouldn't be happening. Obviously, it's comforting knowing that other people are in the same position as you, but this should not be normalized. Number six thing I wish I knew in my 20s is that not all gut issues are related to the food that you're eating. Throughout my 20s, I did a ton of elimination diets, some of them incredibly strict. I always thought that I had some issues with gluten and dairy, which may have been the case to some extent, but I was always hyper analyzing everything that I ate, where the food came from, what restaurant it was from, what seasonings that I thought were on foods. It just became a lot to try to think about, especially when if something went well one week and then I had it again the following week and then I got symptoms. This was twice as confusing now. I ended up figuring out that the big issue that I had was small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and it wasn't until I addressed this and my root causes, which included gut motility, that I was able to actually find real relief. And this is after trying almost a decade of stuff related to food and listening to doctors say just figure out which foods are causing your issues. If you want to learn more about my experience with SIBO, you can click this link right up here to watch a video. And then if you want additional help with SIBO, check out my online program SIBO shortcut using the link down in the description below, or you can go to SIBOshortcutinfo.com. Tip number 7 I wish I knew in my 20s was that intuitive eating was going to be better for me than having a set amount of daily calories each day. A little bit of background on me: I've always loved fitness, lifting weights, and trying to gain muscle. With this, I was trying to maintain a certain number of calories consumed each day. During certain portions of time, this was upwards of 4,000 calories per day, which for somebody at my body weight, which is around 160 pounds, this is a ton of food. And it hurt my viewpoint around eating and food, because when you're trying to eat 4,000 calories per day, typically you're not going to be hungry when you're eating, and therefore not that excited about eating food. Thing number 8 that I wish I figured out in my 20s was that I shouldn't be focusing on how much I weigh. I should just care about how I look and feel. This is sort of a carry on from number 7. I've always been someone on the lighter, thinner side. It's typically really difficult for me to gain weight. One year, I think this was 2014, so 11 years ago, one of my close friends and I were just looking to try to gain weight and bulk up. We made this agreement: we're trying to gain 12 pounds in 12 weeks, which maybe you're watching this and you're thinking that sounds really easy, but for me and my friend, this was not easy. Long story short, we did do this. However, toward the end of it, I developed heartburn, acid reflux, and just in general felt awful. So I guess the takeaway for me in this case is to stay at a weight that I feel comfortable at, focus on slowly gaining muscle while trying to stay lean, and not worrying about the scale. Thing number 9 I wish I knew in my 20s was that I don't need to eat food every 2 hours. Maybe it was what I was reading back at this time, but for some reason I thought that the way to keep your metabolism running was you had to have a small meal every couple of hours. This just blatantly is not true. Probably also led in part to a lot of my digestive issues, but since I moved my meals to at least 4 hours spaced apart from the previous meal and not eating snacks in between, I've had better energy. I don't get cravings in between meals. I look forward to eating, and my digestion just in general has been better, and my physique is undoubtedly significantly better than it was previously. Thing number 10 is that I don't need to eat protein right before bed to prevent muscle breakdown. If you're noticing a little bit of a trend on a lot of these topics, a lot of the stuff I did was focus on fitness and physique. I used to drink casein protein right before bed, again, because what I read online was that I needed it, otherwise my muscles are going to go away. So I typically went to bed pretty full, because if you've tried casein before, it is a very thick, filling protein. Fortunately for me, besides the time where I mentioned I had acid reflux and bloating from doing that bulk, I really didn't have sleep issues or acid reflux issues even after eating a meal or having this protein before bed, which I know is an issue for a lot of people. Thing number 12 I wish I knew in my 20s was that mental health and stress definitely impacts digestion. I'm not proud to admit this, but during my 20s, I really didn't think the mental health and stress side of things really did anything. I think sometimes you don't really notice a difference in something until after you start doing it, see the impact, and then take it away. So now I rarely do this, but if I am eating while I'm stressed, I actually do notice a difference in my digestion not being as good. And then lastly, number 13 is just to be more patient with myself. I used to make a daily to-do list, and it probably had way too many things on it if I'm looking back and being honest. And if I didn't get every single thing done that was on this list, going to bed, I'd be a little bit disappointed instead of happy that I did the other 15 things that were on the list. That is all for today. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more related content. Let me know in the comment section below which of these resonate with you, and if you could do your 20s over or a previous period in your life, what is one piece of advice you would give to your younger self? Since you watched till the end of this video, I think you're going to enjoy one of these 2 videos next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.